Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here, and we're back again for another pickups video. Been on the hunt pretty hard the last couple of weeks. As you know, it's garage sale season, been hitting up a bunch of different pawn shops and things like that. Got quite a few new games to show you this time, as well as a few new systems I've never had in my collection before, as well as bringing back an old system that I used to own as a kid. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright gang, so real quick before we start with the video, a couple of announcements to make. Just realized the other day that I hit my 1 year mark on YouTube. So as of yesterday, I've been on YouTube for 1 full year. It's been a great year so far. Just to give you a couple of just kind of stats on where I'm at right now. So in the first year I got my first 50 subscribers. I've got about 35 to 40 videos up right now. Channel sitting at about 15 to 1600 views. So all in all, not too bad considering I'm not able to put out content as often as I want. Really, I wanted to get to a point where I can drop a video basically at least once every week. But just with things going on in my personal life, as well as all the hours I'm putting in at work, finding that pretty hard to do. But I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody who subscribed to the channel, who's been watching the videos, giving those likes and comment and giving me good feedback on what I can do for future videos, as well as sharing to all their friends. So just from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you very much for supporting me, and I hope you'll continue to do so in the future, and hopefully we can make year 2 even better than the first. So with all that out the way, let's get started with the actual pickups. And the first thing I wanted to show here, this is kind of a large item, and this is The Walking Dead Battleground video game. This is basically a plug-and-play device. From what I understand, the gun hooks right into your TV. I haven't played this yet, and I don't expect this to be very good, but Walmart was blowing these out for about $5 a piece, so I figured why not, you know, I'll give it a shot. So like I said, I don't expect it to be very good. It looks like it's going to be basically a light gun game. I do like light gun shooters, so this should be pretty good. Sorry, I'm looking at the back of the box here. I'm not sure. From what I can see, it looks like it's got an AV cable hookup, so this probably isn't gonna look good on my HD TVs, so I'll have to plug it into the old school. But I'll do a review on this on down the line, or you know, show you guys some gameplay from that. So that's the first item. Next here, I'll get into a couple of the systems real quick. And first is the system that I'm adding back in my collection. Nothing too serious, but Game Boy Advance. I have a pretty good collection of Game Boy Advance games right now. Primarily I use the Retron 5 to play them. So it's nice to get the old SP back. As you can see, I'm in my bedroom right now. I just kind of rolled out of bed today. It's a Monday, and you know how that goes. I actually supposed to be at work here in a couple of hours. I haven't been that motivated to do anything, just been kind of lazy all day, so I thought I'd shoot from right here in the bedroom. And this is pretty much, like I said, the PSP I got a while back that got me back into handheld gaming and kind of piqued my interest. And so looking for an SP again. Fortunately, one of my friends, Michael Paris from my Facebook group that I'm in, the 619 video games group, hooked me up on this, got me a good deal with this, the charger, the carrying case, and a couple of games for it. And I'll probably show those at some point. But yeah, just happy to get the old SP back in my collection. That became my tool of choice for playing a lot of the Game Boy through Game Boy Advance series. So there's that. Another system I want to show off here. So you guys already know I got the PSP, love the PSP, and was just kind of roaming around a pawn shop. And what should I see for $40 but a white PlayStation Portable, and this just isn't any PSP. This is the limited edition Darth Vader PSP. So of course, you know, I'm the Lightsaber Samurai. Star Wars is my gig. Darth Vader is my boy, so of course I had to pick that up. Looks pretty good. This is the 2000 series. A couple of differences between this and the black one I have, which is a 3000. The screen on this one, it's kind of a trade-off on the screen. The screen on the 3000 is basically, from what I understand, they added a faster screen to kind of eliminate or minimize things such as ghosting. This is the slower screen. I've been playing on this a lot. I haven't really noticed any of the ghosting. Seems pretty clear to me. Actually, this screen looks a little bit clearer because the 3000 screen has scan lines. So that's kind of the trade-off with that. You get a bit of faster screen with the PSP 3000 one, but it has scan lines. This one is a slightly slower screen, so you might notice a little more motion blur or ghosting, but like I said, no scan lines. Like I said, I play games on both. I like both. So as far as recommendation, the 2000 or 3000, either one works just fine. So picked up that PSP. While I'm on the subject of PSP, I did pick up a new game for it recently, and that was Parasite Eve, the Third Birthday. Now this is a direct sequel to Parasite Eve 1 and 2 that came out on the original PlayStation. I love both of those games, excellent titles. In the second game, you start to see it lose some of its RPG roots and move more into an action game. Played very similarly to games like survival horror, the games at the time, like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, things like that, which I thought was fine. You lost the targeting grid system that was in the first game, but that was alright. Like I said, it was kind of more straight up action, which was totally fine. This continues that trend, although this one came out in, I believe, 2006, so it plays more like modern third-person shooters, you know, with the kind of Resident Evil 4 over-the-shoulder view. I haven't played it a lot, but I mean, the graphics look amazing. Even putting this on my TV via the component cable, the audio video out, it looks fantastic in 480p. And like I said, I'd like to showcase this game a little bit more in the future, so I'm definitely excited to have this one. Okay, moving on, and I guess getting into the next system. So like I said, as much as I like the PSP, I had to go ahead and look for the PlayStation Vita, and now I'm an owner of the Vita, and I really like this system. This answers a lot of the cons that people had with the PSP systems. You'll notice right away, dual analog sticks, a much larger screen. This is the 1001 model right here, so this has the OLED screen. The images on this look very sharp. The colors pop out. The 2001 model, it's a little bit lighter. And the battery life lasts, I think it's an extra hour of battery life. The games on that still look fantastic too. I've got a good friend of mine that owns a 2001, but it does have an LCD screen as opposed to the OLED screen. Like I said, you can notice them putting them up, you know, side by side. But like I said, games look good on both, but I do prefer the OLED screen. Also, I prefer that it's a little bit heavier. It kind of feels a little more substantial in my hand. So I will definitely do a video on this like I did with the PlayStation Portable video. And like I said, I got a lot of games for that. Just one of the games I wanted to showcase real quick while we were here was Wipeout 2048. And you see I grabbed that at GameStop for less than $10. I love the Wipeout series. I played the original Wipeout on the original PlayStation years and years ago and kind of forgot about the series altogether until I played Wipeout Pulse on the PSP. But this one though looks fantastic. The PSP, or the PlayStation Vita is really the most powerful handheld ever created. And I mean, it's much more powerful than anything you'd see. Like, I mean, it's more powerful than the PSP, the DS, the 3DS, anything. And it's so underrated right now. So I'd like to do a video just focusing on the PlayStation Vita itself and a lot of the games I got, but this is one of the first games I got for it. See the back there, I don't know how well you can see that, but the graphics on it are fantastic. It moves extremely fast. So that's Wipeout there. Another game real quick that I got on the Vita was Shantae, HalfGenie Hero. And I remember the original Shantae on the Game Boy Color and haven't played any of the other games since. As you know, a lot of them you can get through limited run games, but I mean, they put out the sales on those and I mean, they're gone right away. Any of us that miss getting those sales, you're trying to look for the game now, of course you gotta, you know, either download them digitally, which is probably what I will do. I would love to own physical copies of those games, but you know, the scalpers, I mean, got you paying 3 times, 4 times the price now as they, you know, came out retail. This one is still sealed though. Actually, I saw the pre-owned copy of it at GameStop, and it was going for I think like $15.99, $16.99, whatever the case. And it was in the generic case though, and I am kind of a snob with that. I'll go generic cases if I have to, if it's an extremely rare game, which I almost did, but I asked the clerk if he had anybody that had the, you know, that had the actual like the regular case to it, and he says, I'm the only store within 150 miles, but I do have this. And then he pulls this from behind the shelf, and you know, he said, this is like 10 bucks more. Do you want to get this? Hell yeah, I said. So this is the collector's edition, the Risky Boots edition. It comes with the soundtrack and this cool long box. I haven't played it yet. As you can see, it's still sealed. And I'm not really the type to have sealed games in my collection. I only have 2. As of right now, I've got this one now, and then I've got, I think, God of War 3, because I already owned a copy, and then it came in, my friend gave me that sealed copy. So, like I said, I'll probably crack this open at some point, but I am kind of, you know, it is one of those games, it'll probably be super expensive in the future. But, like I said, I buy games to play them, you know, I'm a collector second and a player first, so I'll probably crack this open and show you some gameplay of this down the line, so. There's that one. That's pretty much it for the Vita. So like I said, I have quite a few more games sitting at, actually, they happen to be sitting right here on my shelf. So like I said, I got a few more titles. Contrary to what many people believe, there's a bunch of titles out on the Vita, Muramasa Rebirth. I will definitely talk about that at some time. That's probably my favorite game on the system right now. So like I said, contrary to what people believe, there are titles on the Vita. They add more titles every month. A lot of them get releases in, you know, stores like GameStop and some of the retail stores. Some of them you kind of got to work a little bit hard for, you know, get them online. You know, I mentioned limited run games and other websites like that you might have to hunt them down for, but they're definitely out there. I just wish Sony would support that system more, because I mean, it was definitely a great system. It was just a victim of not being supported by its developer. And speaking of that, the last of the new systems that I own, or that I added to my collection, was the Wii U. So I now own a Wii U, and I actually like the Wii U a lot. Again, this I think is this fell victim to poor marketing and poor support from Nintendo, as well as poor third-party support. It was another one of those Nintendo systems that just didn't get the third-party support that it needed to really compete with the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. But I like the system a lot. I was actually watching Metal Jesus on his channel, and he described it as the best version of the Wii out there, which is a very apt description. Had this game came out, or had this console came out in 2005 or 6 or whatever it was, instead of the original Nintendo Wii, I think this would have made a really huge splash. Of course, I mean, this supports the Wii fully, has the what am I trying to say, the ports in the back of the system. You can hook up the sensor bar, and you can hook up Wii controllers to it, no problem. The Wii Pro controllers. It even has a port to hook up a GameCube controller, so you can play Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Nintendo Wii, or on the Wii U rather. So like I said, I like this system. This here is the the control pad, and it is pretty big, but I mean it feels pretty comfortable. It's light. All the buttons on it feel really good, and I do enjoy playing this a lot. I keep it most of the time in my bedroom because the theme in my bedroom, I keep all my handhelds in here so I can chill in bed if I don't want to get out of bed on days like today and just play some games. But yeah, definitely I enjoy the Wii U a lot. I've been playing it pretty much every day since I got it. Again, my buddy Michael Paris hooked me up with that for the low, so appreciate you. Appreciate 691 games, or 619, sorry. Real quick, I'll get into the only game, that game that came preloaded with Mario Kart 8, so I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart, and I've also been playing a lot of Bayonetta 2. And like I said, this one is going to be kind of collectible. This one here is the first print of the game, and with the first print you can see there it comes with the original Bayonetta that came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Basically Sega, they had some kind of exclusivity contract with Nintendo that pretty much meant that Bayonetta 2 could not come out on the 360 and the PS3, and this was the game that made me want to buy a Wii U in the first place. And so I finally got the Wii U. I was in GameStop, and like I said, this one is kind of hard to find now, the first print with the original game on it. So I'm happy that I got that. I foresee this being very collectible in the future. I had to do a little hunting myself to find it at GameStop, and as soon as I found it, was only one of the stores in my town had it, excuse me, which they're about, I don't know, like 10 like in the surrounding area around my house, and like I said, only one had this edition, so I picked that up with the quickness. So I'm happy to have Bayonetta 2. All right, here, so moving on to PS2 here, and I've got a couple of titles for the PS2. So this one here is Wizardry Tale of the Forsaken Land by Atlas, and from what I understand, it's an RPG, like dungeon crawl RPG. I don't know anything about it. I haven't got a chance to play it yet. I literally found this game for $1 at my local pawn shop, just kind of in their dollar bin, and so I definitely had to snatch that up. Basically anything Atlas. I try to pick up Atlas. They generally make very good titles, and their titles generally become very obscure and collectible down the line. So whenever I see an Atlas game, especially for this cheap, I definitely try to pick it up. So I'm excited to play that one, like I said, and it's on PS2, and that's my system. So moving right along, I also picked up a copy of Rez on the PlayStation 2. This one was kind of hard to find. Vintage stock nearby actually had it, so I picked it up, and it was priced pretty decently too. Got it for about $20, and this is a rail shooter. And this rail shooter, the guy that made this rail shooter went on to make Child of Light on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, and I'll talk about more of that game later, but that's definitely a hidden gem for both of those systems. If you liked Rez, you will love Child of Light, so that one is like a, I don't know, you can get it for under $5. So if you see that one, pick that up. If you see Rez, pick it up. It came out around the turn of the century. It had like really lush 3D graphics, and kind of mixed the vector style graphics in it. And like I said, it's basically an on-rail shooter that takes place in some kind of computer. And the cool thing about this game is when you kill enemies, when you fire your weapon, it kind of adds to the music track that's playing. So you're kind of shooting enemies to a beat, and a beat that you're creating by hitting the shot button. And so that was really cool. And as you go through the levels, it adds layers to the track that you know you're on. And so it's very cool mesh between on-rail shooter and music. So if you see that, pick it up. Child of Light, pick that up as well. And the last game I got for the PS2 is Rogue Galaxy. Now, Rogue Galaxy was an action RPG developed by Factor 5. Factor 5, they made games like, like Rogue Squadron 2 on the GameCube. I love Factor 5, Dark Cloud 2, Dark Cloud 1 and 2, which I'm still looking for Dark Cloud 2. But we like Factor 5 around here. This is a really cool game with really cool cel-shaded graphics. I played this a little bit back in the day, and like a dummy, I traded it off and been looking for it ever since. So I was happy to find this game for the low. So I appreciate that, and yeah, Rogue Galaxy. So I'm totally excited to set aside time to play that game because I'd love to go back through that game. Real quick, I got one of the GameCube games. My GameCube collection is not very big. I'm not that interested in the system. Like I said, it came out in 6th generation alongside the Xbox and the PS2. I love the original Xbox and PS2 a lot more than I like the GameCube. Sorry. But like I said, this game, Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Sunshine, came out on the GameCube. It's from what I remember, it received a lot of mixed reviews when it first came out. People love the smash hit Super Mario 64 and the Nintendo 64, and they were basically waiting for them to drop a game that played just like that on the GameCube. This one, it's kind of a side story to the Super Mario games, and Mario and Peach and company there, they go to vacation on this island, and there's this Mario clone or Mario lookalike that pollutes the island with all this goo all over the place. Mario gets framed for the crime, and he's sentenced to clean the entire island. So with the help of his trusty jetpack, you basically, defeat enemies and clean up all the sludge on the island. I really like the game. It's pretty fun. The jetpack, you can use it to, to jump up to higher platforms. You can use it to temporarily hover and things like that. So it's a very cool game with a lot of cool ideas. So happy to add Sunshine to the collection. Okay, we're winding down here. Just a couple of games to talk about here on the PS3. And on the PS3, that is the Sonic AllStars game. Now this is the first one, Sonic and Sega AllStars Racing, and then you got Sonic AllStars Racing Transform. Both excellent kart games on the PS3. They play very similar. They're kind of like a cross between I'd say like Mario Kart and like Diddy Kong Racing, with just kind of where they do the power slide boost mechanic that's in that. But both of them are very excellent games. If I had to pick one, I think I like Sonic and Sega AllStars a little better. This one takes place, like the tracks are more modern titles from Sega, but I think the tracks in this are just designed a little bit better than the ones in Transformed. However, I do like Transformed a lot as well, because this one focuses more on classic titles from Sega. Like you'll see some stuff from like Panzer Dragoon and like old school Shinobi and things like that. But any title you can get your hands on, definitely try to get both of them. It's a great time as far as kart racing, and actually these are two of my favorite kart racers of all time. So definitely happy to add those to the collection. And last but not least, on the PlayStation 3, I added Blur to the collection. And now Blur is a racing game developed by Bizarre Creations. And this is another game that plays kind of like a kart race. Kind of reminds me of Mario Kart in the sense that you find different power-ups and you can attack enemies and can be attacked by enemies in this game. But of course, like this plays with more like modern cars. So to me, it's kind of like a cross of between maybe like Mario Kart and arcade racers like Ridge Racer and like Burnout and things like that. So I've played this a little bit and I love this game. This game it's getting to be hard to find on the 360 and the PS3. I went ahead and got it on the PS3 just because I have a couple of Thrustmaster racing wheels to play with it. Hard as hell to play the games like that, but it's a lot of fun. So definitely Blur is one of my favorite racing titles so far, and I think I'll have to do an episode just on racing games and just some of my favorite racing games, and spoiler alert, this will definitely show up in there. So and so that's that. So with that being said, that was just a quick rundown of some of the pickups I picked up the last couple of weeks or so. I just wanted to get a video out just to kind of talk with you guys. I know it's been a while, and I apologize for not getting out content as quickly as I'd like. Like I said, I eventually like to get to a point where I release a video every week. And so I'm still working on that, and hopefully we'll get to that shortly. I've got another episode from the Game Corner in the works, and I'll just tell you a little bit about that. We're going to go back and do a part 2 of the Xbox 360 Hidden Gem, so definitely be on the lookout for that. That should release in probably the next week or so, God willing. So without that, just any questions you have about the channel or about the games I picked up, just leave your questions and comments in the comments below. I'll definitely be on the next couple of days talking with you guys. Without further ado, like I said, I'm Lightsaber Samurai. Thank you guys for subscribing and thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day. We'll see you next time.